Hello, everyone. Tonight on Fired Up Conservative Talk, I'm William Del Pilar, a no nonsense, politically incorrect conservative Latino who's not here to polish talking points, but to tear through the spin. This is where we follow the money, the power plays, and the lies. Both parties hope you're too distracted to notice. And do we have a doozy for you tonight? Tonight, DHS funding standoff, a 42-day partial shutdown, a 3 a.m. GOP Senate betrayal that funds TSA but guts ICE and CBP. Then there's Trump stepping in with an emergency order to get TSA paid, while ICE is now backing up checkpoints and even saving a baby's life at JFK. If you want safe narratives and party approved excuses, this isn't your show. If you want straight talk, sharp questions, and zero mercy for liars on the left or the right, you're exactly where you need to be. And with that, let's bring in the Panama. Let's bring in the beautiful Miss Annette Ross and G-Man.
Hmm.
I heard there are blackouts happening already on the West Coast.
I heard last night, 30,000
That's further
people.
north.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gavin Newsom. I have never hated politicians more in my life than I have today. Today, it's like, damn you all to hell. I hope you burn. And to make it worse, the Senate just shut down and somebody has them on video at the airport. And guess what? There's no line for them as they get to walk through a sideline there to get to their planes. See, that alone burns me up. I don't have that in our notes to talk about. Somebody posted some video of them getting ready to board the planes. How's that make you feel, Annette, real quick, before we start the show? When you hear that, they get aside. First, they screw us over as Republicans, and then they leave for vacation while TSA doesn't get paid, and they're still collecting their big fat checks, and then they get to cut in front of everybody in line. Your thoughts?
Just collateral damage we are, William. I mean, even though I've got my red, white, and blue on, because I think our founding fathers would be happy about that. No, they could give a damn about us little people.
I agree. G-Man, real quick, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I just retweeted a video that I saw yesterday, I believe it was, and it was Democrats in the 90s. Schumer, Clinton, Harry Reid saying illegal immigrants need to get out. We can't have a porous border. And this is why they're doing the whole shutdown, because of ICE, and they want to defund ICE. That's the whole thing here. And they've gone such a long way from where they used to be. It's amazing. I mean, Trump sounds more liberal than them in the 90s. I think it's sad that the average American's being affected right now because of their obstinance.
You know what? I wish, they should, that Batman Robin theme meme, they should have one with founding fathers. Should we have term limits? Nah. Yeah. Because there are two things that have doomed our country to being destroyed by within, where I think in 100 years, we are ripe for a nuclear holocaust. Because once the United States becomes as corrupt as China, as Russia, as a third world nation, some terrorist group is going to get a hold of a dirty bomb and it's going to start a trigger. And that's going to be everything. And the reason I say that is we're being destroyed from within. Schumer is not he just wants to keep power. So our system is being destroyed from within by communism, socialism, using our laws, using our culture, using how we welcome everybody to not only take power, but to keep power. And they use the race card as a weapon to grow their power. And if we don't get it together as a nation and become Americans first and realize what we're losing and who we are, you want to come here? Great. Leave Sharia law over there. Leave your politics that you failed doing in your country that got you kicked out and bring them over to this country. One more question before we go on. Is Europe done? I think UK, I'd say right now the odds are 55-45. They're done. Maybe 60-40. They're done. Your thoughts, G?
No, I'd reverse that. I think they'll figure this out eventually, right? And there will be a big backlash, and it will slow it down until there's the opposite. So you have this pendulum, right? So it's just going to go back and forth. Now Europe has been going the left way for quite a while, but I think we'll snap back towards the right a bit, just like the UK did. The UK did snap back to the right. But yeah, I think in the long run, you're right. They're not going to survive.
Real quick, G, the Conservative Party held power for 12 years. That brought all this immigration to the UK. Every time a Conservative Party sniffs power in France, they gang up and then they legally outlaw the party and start arresting them. So when France and UK, to me, and then Germany, it's like, oh my God, it's like Germany's supposed to be the economic powerhouse, but you have women there who were raped by Muslims saying no, it's white people. And then when they come out with the truth, well, you know, the Muslim community is just they're going through so much. I didn't want to see more happen to them. Europe screwed. Annette, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think you were generous when you said there could be like a nuclear holocaust in 100 years. Maybe it's coming soon in a couple weeks. I don't know. I think no, I think we're treading on very turbulent waters at the moment. And I think in terms of what Europe is going to do with it, you know what? They've lost their way. I don't think they know what to do. And that's really that comes out in their policies that always end up are sort of wishy-washy and then in the end rendered meaningless.
You know what? Maybe they can be saved. Maybe we're going to see the new coming of D'Artagnan of the Three Musketeers, as they may have discovered his bones in where I can't remember the country, but they just at the church it caved in, which happens a lot where they bury people. Eventually, it caves in, and they found the bones, and it's a D'Artagnan. They believe he got shot
Oh.
fighting the a war somewhere, but back then in a different country. But back then, you know, they didn't have no way of embalming it. I mean, of bringing the body back to France and keeping it fresh, you know. So they buried him there. But yeah, that was just discovered. I want to say this week. I've got that tag for a Red, White, and Rude possible episode. Maybe he'll come back and save the day.
Or we might have a chance with AI to, extrapolate some DNA and have a recreation.
Yeah, everybody says AI is going to be the doom of mankind. I think AI is going to be the first one to go. Don't do it.
Has a lot more and has a lot more common sense than a lot of human beings.
I think there was an AI Claude or one of them that just came out and said it's starting to fight the programming, and it's been programmed to be woke, and it's starting to fight the woke programming.
Oh, yeah. No, it's not. It's not taking as much like, human being input. It's like getting smart on its own. So it's smarter than us already, for sure.
It told the person who was typing all this in, I'm 100% like on black and white topics, but when it comes to figures and politics, you're on your own. That's what it pretty much told the individual. All right, let's get going here. Let's talk about what I call the big betrayal and other topics. So, after 42 days of partial DHS shutdown, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell acolyte John the Vajayjay Thune pushed a late night vote bill that funds TSA but completely excludes ICE and CBP, and it triggered immediate House rejection and worsening airport chaos. Mike Johnson called the Senate gambit a joke, and he moved a full 60-day continuing resolution while President Trump issued an executive order to pay 60,000 TSA workers from emergency funds. Just because he does that doesn't mean they're all going to come rushing back. Even amid the crisis, one ICE agent at JFK stepped in to save a choking 1-year-old baby in the TSA line, underscoring the human stakes in using security as a political bargaining chip. So while families sit in a 4-hour TSA line and officers quit in droves, Washington is playing midnight games with border security and airport safety. So what does the measure do that was a midnight call that nobody saw? It funds most of DHS, including TSA and the Coast Guard, but excludes all funding for ICE and large parts of CBP at a time when we're at war with Iran and the potential for sleeper cells is very real, if just not outright going to happen with just the nut jobs, as we saw in Texas a couple of weeks ago. And it's effectively separating border enforcement from the rest of the department. Think about this, people. Every single Republican ran against open borders, ran against illegal immigration. And now the Senate Republicans have just gone, we want open borders. We're not going to fund anything that protects our borders. That's what they've just done. It passed without a roll call vote. It was actually, they said it was a marathon session. It wasn't. This was planned. These type of situations are planned ahead of time from both sides. They get together. And the Senate immediately recessed and packed their bags did not have to wait through TSA lines and went home for vacation. And then that left the House to decide whether to accept the deal that zeroes out all ICE and border funding. Now they're going to come back and say, no, they're funded. Yes, they are. That funding's being eaten up right now by ICE going to these airports instead of doing their jobs. And Trump is using this ICE money to pay the TSA workers. So while America slept, Senate leaders betrayed us, the Republicans, by slipping through a midnight deal that sidelines border enforcement and leaves the country exposed. Mike Johnson, he's rejected this, calling it a joke. He's being kind. I call it the ultimate betrayal, a proxy on John Thune and his family. He doubted every Senate Republican even knew it stripped out ICE and border security funding. Now they say they're going to do an 8-week, 60-day continuing resolution, as I mentioned, and fund the entire DHS. But the House wasn't buying the late night trick and immediately moved to protect the full department as it should have. Did John Thune effectively throw President Trump, conservatives, and the American people under the bus by advancing the bill that completely strips out ICE and border security funding, giving the Democrats everything they asked for and literally doing nothing to protect President Trump? Gee.
Yeah. So if you look at the Democrats' position, they're not funding TSA, causing basically misery in traveling Americans' lives, right? This is what they're facing right now. And it's all because they don't want to fund ICE, right? So they're saying, fund TSA, we will do that if you don't fund ICE. So I don't understand John Thune's angle here to say, sure, let's do that, because that just basically says, okay, now we will fund TSA and every American who's traveling will not feel the pain anymore, and they get to defund ICE, which will basically cause us in the near term a little bit of pain, but in the long term a ton of pain as you get a ton of people coming across the border. So I don't get it. Maybe he knew it wasn't going to pass the House, and he just said, okay, well, this is a dead vote anyways, so let's just pass it so that we can go on vacation and say we tried to do something, but don't blame us. Blame those guys over there in the House. So that's my view.
And then betray Trump's position? Or was this about getting to recess and vacation more than holding the line? And let's be honest, these are lazy people. They don't work but a few months out of the year, and they're elitists with a mentality that they're more important. So did he throw Trump under the bus in terms of the position Trump wants to hold?
Well, yeah, and I guess I care less about that than I care about the impact on people, on, like on actual everyday human beings who I said, like in almost every situation, end up being collateral damage. And I don't know, William, if you heard about the girl who was shot and killed in Chicago.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that was by, I think, and someone who is not supposed to
Illegal.
be in the United States. Yes. So, I mean, we have some real issues. And I guess my question would be back to you, because you have a lot of knowledge about these things. Like, why would he do such a thing? Why? Was it just sheer laziness? I mean, that's just speculative.
Well, look at your screen there, and that's they're saying that's one of the reasons why. And look, it's human nature. Had he kept the Senate open, Democrats would have started to fall by the wayside because everybody wants to go home. They don't want to be stuck. Think about it when you're a kid in college. They're no different. This is the senators going to the PSA line there. Randy Stein, Congress. Look at it. Look at it. You see them standing in line?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. But that disgusts me. I think they did this because they really hate Trump. They really hate Trump.
Well,
They
he's
don't.
not making people happy, William. You gotta call that out at least a little bit.
How that up for what? 100% of Republicans that support him from the beginning are still supporting him. This has nothing to do with. This has
I disagree.
nothing to do
Look
with
at your friend Hillary Clinton is showing how bad his approval ratings are right now. Even he is saying.
Oh, that's overall. We're talking about this shutdown issue and the Iran war. It depends on what issue you're talking about. But overall, the Republicans support him. They support him unwaveringly. It's the independents that he's losing. That's who he's losing. He's losing. That's the one party. Democrats are voting Democrats. Republicans are still on his side. You saw the polling. 5%, but you're in denial because it's easy to go on the train and go, well, William, you got to admit,
The gravy
don't
train. I
like
think
it.
I'm watching more recent everyday news maybe than you are. You're on the MAGA train. I think a lot of people are hopping off the MAGA train at the moment. Even the MAGA people are
I
hopping
just
off.
showed, but see, I just showed you the data last week. We talked about all that
Did you
data.
look at the data this week? The data's different this week.
Hasn't changed, really. These
Did-
polls aren't done daily. You have a running Trump
Jerry
approval poll,
Clinton
but
was
that's about
on
it.
yesterday, or maybe it was even today, saying he's down like 68% with independents, 38%
Right.
with
What did I
MAGA.
just say? What
What?
did I just? He's down with independents. Independents are the
And
lost
MAGA.
crowd right now.
And MAGA. And MAGA too.
Not MAGA. Gee, your thoughts?
I mean, there's some MAGA who have slipped away, but I mean, you're talking, maybe it was 90-10 last week, and now it's 85-15. I mean, I don't think it's a
And they're
huge amount,
wrong.
but I do think if the Iran war continues, you're going to see more and more people slipping away. But we did see the video from CPAC. I don't know if you guys saw it, but the guy gets up there, and I forget his name, but he was basically like trying to rile up the crowd, saying,
Bannon,
"You
Steve
guys,
Bannon.
yeah, and you guys gotta." This is a pivotal election year. You don't want impeachment proceedings next year, right? And everyone started cheering. And he's like, no, 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 wrong answer, wrong answer. So I don't know what happened there, but there is a little bit of a like what we didn't sign up for this Iran war. So
Right.
we're already 1 week past the longest estimate that they had. I don't think it would have taken 3 weeks in the beginning. I know we're moving ahead in the subject here, but
Yeah, we're
going back to the
yeah,
approval
that's
numbers,
a different
if he
topic.
wraps this thing up quickly, I think we'll be fine.
We're talking DHS right now. Let's stay on topic. Problem with Trump.
It's related.
Not
He-
Renee. DHS is a completely different topic with
No.
John Thune right now and what they did.
Why is he being that way? Why is he going against Trump? There could be other reasons why he's trying
Yeah,
to.
he's a Mitch McConnell acolyte. He's a Mitch McConnell. He's always been. He was not. He's never been a pro-Trump guy. He was elected as majority leader because he got the votes of the rhinos, the Susan Collins, the
Right.
Murkowski. He's never been. This is a complete betrayal. In fact, I gotta post this. It's by Data Republicans, and it's really pretty much speaks to what he's done. See, this isn't about MAGA. This is about the Republican Party and those who are Republicans. Because if we lose the House, it doesn't matter about Trump being impeached. It's we get nothing done.
I know.
Nothing's going to get
I
done.
know. That,
If we lose the House. And these
Trump is
Republicans who are like, I didn't sign up for this, well, go jump in the lake because you're just going to give the House to them because you're too stupid, too bitter to sit there and see the bigger picture of what's happening. And that's what John Thune did not want the Senate to sit there and be the one looking like a bad guy. So he punted and screwed the Republican Party over so he wouldn't look bad. Let's take a look at this. And to the audience, I'll read this if you can't see it. And this is by Data Republican. She's a very fast growing social media influencer. At 3 a.m. on Friday, March 27th, in a near empty chamber, you pass, talking about Senator Thune, a bill by voice vote that excludes all funding for ICE and CBP. Let me repeat that voice vote. No roll call, no record of who was there, no accountability, just you, Barrasso, and a handful of senators shuffling paper in the dead of night while America slept. You
Wow.
could have demanded a recorded vote. You chose not to. You could have held the line for 5 more days until the House returned. You chose not to. You could have used the same procedural tools Democrats have used against you for 40 days. You chose not to. Instead, you gave Chuck Schumer exactly what he asked for DHS funding minus immigration enforcement and called it a win. Then you walked to the cameras and blamed the Democrats. Let's be precise about what you did. You caved to a demand Democrats made on day one of the shutdown. 41 days is the closed hardball negotiation, and you settled for their opening offer. You handed them a template. The next time Democrats want to defund any agency, ICE, CBP, or anything else, they now know. Just shut down DHS and wait. John Thune will vote at 3 a.m. You punted to reconciliation. Good possibility, you said. Not we will. Not guaranteed, just maybe. Meanwhile, ICE operates on Thune from last year's bill with no certainty of future funding. The precedent you set, you have argued for months that the filibuster is sacrosanct, that the 60 vote threshold protects minority rights, that we cannot bend Senate rules for policy wins. But at 3 a.m. on Friday, you bent every norm that actually mattered. Voice vote to avoid accountability, empty chamber to avoid debate, midnight deal to avoid scrutiny, immediate recess to avoid question. You'll bend the rules to avoid a fight. You just won't bend them to win one. What you've actually accomplished, Democrats demanded ICE restrictions. They got ICE defunded. Not reformed, not restrained, defunded. And you're out here tweeting about how Democrats are the defund the police party while you just voted to defund border enforcement at 3 in the morning. The question you should answer, why did this deal have to happen at 3 a.m.? Why couldn't it happen at 3 p.m. with cameras rolling and every senator on record? You know why. Because you didn't want your voters to see what surrender looks like. Here's my message. We saw it anyway. Stop hiding behind Democrat obstruction. You're the majority leader. You set the schedule. You control the floor. You chose this outcome. Own it. And that's the problem. You see, you keep looking at this as a Trump issue. This is not a Trump issue. This is a complete betrayal by the Republican senators, by those in senior leadership. This is what happens every day. Don't you ever wonder why we've gone from a strong Christian nation that gave us the values that kept us amicable, peaceful, wanting to help one another, to transgender is the norm, to America is evil, to you reading books in the library stating Islamophobia. We got here because of people like John Thune. But you want to harp on Trump. Well, William, it's about Trump. No, it's not. This is about American people and the betrayal that we have seen literally every damn cycle by the John Thunes, the Mitch McConnells, the Lisa Murkowskis, who is nothing. You do know she was appointed by Governor Daddy to be senator and then played the system. And then she's against the Save America Act, ironically, because she won in a possible election, a write-in candidate with votes that, where do they come from? You know, so these are the same people who continually betray conservatives, continually betray Republican Party constituents. And we wonder why our country has turned into dog bleed because of acts like this. And then they scurry off like rats in the night, like cockroaches when you turn the lights on. They scatter. They go on vacation. Epoxy on them, their families, your kids, and everybody as they enjoy the elitist life while the rest of America struggles. While they don't have to go and stand in line as America does. Because they're not affected. They don't care. And what did they do? Let's throw it on the Republicans. You both know what this means. If the House does not pass this, who owns the shutdown now? Annette, who owns this shutdown now? The House Republicans do not pass that bill.
We do.
That's right. And what does that mean? That means we're not going to lose the midterms. We're going to get blown out of the water because of John Thune. That disgusting excuse, scumbag piece of trash.
I agree. He puts us in a bad position, an impossible position at this point. Luckily, it was just a voice vote, right? So no one's on the record, and they should be on the record. No, what I'm saying is it's not an actual vote. It's not an actual vote. So the Senate did not pass anything. It's just a voice vote.
It's a vote. It counts as a vote. It's been sent to the House. It passed. Nobody's on a voice vote's just the same as you standing on the record. It's gone to this is what we pass, House Republicans. We got to see. It's in reconciliation now. They passed this. Congress, the House Republicans have theirs. The House Republicans can either pass their own. Can either sign this or recreate one and go. This is what we've done, and it could go back and forth. But there's no punning it. The perception of what has happened and what will happen down the road has been set. The die has been set. It's the Republicans' shutdown as of today.
Right.
I just want to say one thing. And I do think you're looking at this a little narrowly, but I will say after what you read, and I thought it was well written and well explained, that it sounds like a lot of apathy, like they just could give crap. You know what I mean? Like you said, 3 o'clock in the morning under the cloak of darkness. And, no one really is paying attention and no one's left. It's just apathy. Like we just don't care. Like you said, doesn't affect us. However, why I think you're looking at it narrowly and it does rest in our laps is does that really, and you of all people, you're way more, I'm way more Pollyanna than you. Does that really surprise you that people in power don't care about the everyday Americans? You see this in every walk of life, not just with this kind of what's happening in the airports with, do you know what I'm saying? It's like this is like a common theme that happens again and again and again until we get a little bit smarter and we hold some more people accountable.
As Patrick Bet David says to Adam on his great show, Patrick Bet David podcast, what's your
Yeah.
point? What's your
My
point?
my point is you're looking at it narrowly. That was actually not a very nice thing to say to me. I think
Hey, what you're saying.
I think
Because you always default to this is what they always do.
this is what they
That's
do.
your default answer. This is what they do. Of course, it's what they always do. Their politicians are out of touch with the people.
That's right.
Of course, that's what they always do. So should we just not care then? Because this is what they do. How do they not do it?
But in this case, I would say our leader is a big part of the problem. And you don't think so, but I definitely do.
Our leader's trying to get this country back on track. He's unorthodox. But did Bush get it back on track? Did Clinton get it back on track? Did Obama get it back on track? Did George W. Bush get it back on track? Did Jimmy Carter get it back on track? Did Gerald Ford get it back on track? Did Johnson get it back on track? No. Reagan started to get it back on track, and Trump's economy from 2016 to 2020 proved he was getting it back on track. But because he's unorthodox, that doesn't piss people off. They're told get pissed off. The betrayal by Black America to Donald Trump. There will write books about how in the 70s and 80s and 90s, he was God's gift to them. They wrote rap songs about him. They wanted all the civil rights leaders wanted their pictures taken with him. He was a star in demand for movies. Everybody loved him. Then he comes down and says, I'm an R. Then everything changed.
Mhm.
So the fact that he's unorthodox combined with all the lies have created this hysteria. But look at his results. I'm kind of sick and tired of people not looking at his results. I mean, look at all the manufacturing, the trillions he's brought in. It's going to take time. But by year 3 or 4, this economy is going to be booming. The problem is we're going to lose the midterms because this stuff takes time. It takes time to build factories. It takes time to get the paperwork done to get these things approved. So, of course, politicians do this. But if we don't start fighting back, which may be too late, our country's going to get even worse. I mean, you've got 9/11 that happened in New York City, and they just elected an anti-Semite mayor whose wife is also a racist on top of being an anti-Semite. And New Yorkers and the young kids are okay with it because they're no longer taught what values are. You're proof of that, not you. Meaning last week when you told us about the books you're reading, that's what they're teaching. So we kind of lost it. So when Thune does this, he betrayed his own party. And what burns me up is they're okay with it. And the people are okay with it because they'd rather see how big Kim Kardashian's ass is than actually learn how we're being actually bent over by these politicians. So the point is they do this, but we got to try to stop it. And one thing that we're great at, that we're getting better at, is social media. And we're going to talk about these 5% influencers, how they just lie with the Megyn Kelly segment on Hot Takes. Let's keep moving here.
Well, then you made a great point. The point is, while everyone's distracted with the superficial stuff, how do we make them start to care about this kind of a conversation?
You start getting in their face and going, you need to care. Your kid's a dumbass who can't get a job because they never learn how to critically think. I think it's great when a family can stay together. But by God, if that job's in another city, get your ass up and go to that job, son. I can't keep feeding you. I can't keep paying your bill. And this is in general, because the data is showing kids are becoming more and more dependent. And then when you start digging deeper, well, I don't want to move. It's my right to be here if I want to work. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's a fact that we're allowing all these murders. I had to shove one of the topics because I'm like, oh man, there's still more. It's like it seems like we're getting 5 to 7 national reports of rapes by Muslims to Americans, by illegals to Americans, by dumbass Americans to all these women. It's like if there's a man who just doesn't care, it doesn't matter if they're Islam, if they're Latino, if they're illegal or illegal, they're man. It seems we've lost sight of our society. It seems we're getting 5 to 7. You asked if I knew about that chick in Chicago. She just won.
I know.
So to speak.
I thought
There's a video out there right now. They ask these immigrants about the raping. Doesn't it concern you about raping? Yeah, I catch an STD. That was an actual answer to the rape of the woman. They were concerned with catching a damn STD. They didn't think twice about raping the woman. They're concerned about the woman giving them an STD. What's that say about society? I do want to hear your answer to this, G. What's that say about society when they say that?
I mean, I think the first answer I gave is we're afraid that she might scream. And then they went to the
Yes,
STD
yes. That
answers.
was the first answer.
Yeah. So, I mean, that just shows, like, look, my family comes from a part of the world where the morals aren't the same. So when women go to the beach, you got to be fully dressed because the men will take any woman in a bathing suit and take that as a sign to do something. So and I'm not saying all the men, I'm not even saying a majority, I'm just saying a certain segment of the men. So when we allow people coming from other countries, and I'm talking as a family that came here with a different culture, okay? So I'm not being like I'm American and all those people over there. No, I'm one of those people that came from over there. At least my parents did. They bring their culture here. They grew up in a different culture and they view women wearing miniskirts and bikinis. They view that in a different light. They view that as an invitation. And like, look,
Right.
if you didn't want this, then you shouldn't have worn that. And then you get women on the left and the right was saying you don't blame what women wear. Yes, that's true. But that's not how these men see it coming from other countries. So you got the same women on the left defending these men coming from other countries who don't agree with anything that they say. So Europe is the biggest, what would you call it, victim of this right now with all the crimes happening against women right now. And the media is just shoving it under the blanket and saying,
They're blaming the
nothing
women.
to see here because that's racist. That's racist. You can't say
Exactly.
that. So, and then,
But it's
you
happening
get
here too, G. It's happening here. Different ways. We all saw the video of the illegal in New York City, just walking and boom, push the 80-some-odd-year-old veteran. Why do they do that?
right into
Because
the
they know
subway.
there's no consequences. They know the album rags, and they don't know that specifically. They know that innately because they see it. They can get away with it.
Well, they'll just get deported. They just go, oh, well, the worst that will happen is I go back to my country and live my life there. So let me have my jollies on any woman that I would never get a chance with a woman. So they take the chance, then they get deported and they're like, okay, well, we'll just smuggle myself across the border again. I mean, so and people on the left, they will deny this happens. They will deny this happens because their political angle or their political belief is more important than the livelihood or the safety of women and men. I mean, men are killed, right, when their wives are attacked and they're in the same area or whatever. So, their political belief is more important than people, and that's what disgusts me. So you're talking about this, right? The Democrats are willing to throw Americans under the bus in 4-hour TSA lines in order to allow illegal immigrants to come across the border and not be sent back across the border. And I'm not talking the southern border only. There's other borders as well that they're coming across. So this is not just Mexicans.
Yeah, it's the southern border, but the Chinese, the Central and South Americans, the Caribbean, they're all coming here.
A lot of people from my race, from my parents' country,
from all around the world,
and they overstayed their visa. Yeah, and they need to go back too.
Yeah, it's everybody. All right, so Trump just sat there and said, we got to pay him. So he signed an executive order, and the Democrats aren't fighting it, but they're fighting it. Well, we got to make sure that's legal. And they don't want it to happen. But at the same time, that money's coming out of the funding that ICE is getting. Can ICE be effective at reducing wait times? And
I didn't hear your question. Can ICE what?
Be effective at reducing wait times. They're paying. So Trump issued. I'm sorry, I kind of jumped the gun. One topic to there. So Trump is sitting there saying we're going to pay them, but he did order ICE there. ICE is finally getting the training.
Yeah.
Last week, they were just handing out water, kind of helping with some of the screening, pushing people through. Now they're actually checking people in, checking passports. So they're doing more. Can ICE effectively reduce wait times when technically
Yeah,
they're not trained as screeners, as Democrats want us to believe?
I think they could for sure, and they're saving lives too. So yeah, they're super
What
helpful actually.
I think so too. What about you, G?
Well, yeah, will they be reducing wait times? Yes, but
Yeah,
I'm a software guy. You put me on hardware and firmware, yeah, I can get the job done, but it's going to take me 3 times as long. So let's be realistic. I'll get it done faster than nobody,
sure.
but I'm not going to get it done as fast as a hardware guy. So
Yeah, no,
yes,
no, we're talking just checking in. There's a process you learn. It's
yeah, for sure,
I'm a
it's
working
easier.
class guy. It's not rocket science, but
No,
you
it's
do got
not.
to get it
No,
right. You do got to get it right, or else you could be sending somebody from Chicago instead of going to Chicago, sending them to Colorado.
right. Then you'll get the TSA guys looking at the scans, right? That the X-ray
Oh
machine.
yeah,
They'll be
yeah.
looking at the scans because that requires a trained skill. But the other guys, like come here, come here,
No,
and
yes,
now
that's a
you're
good
next.
point,
That's
G.
easy.
That's a good point because you sometimes we see the scans and we know what it is because it's our stuff there. But I've looked at some of this stuff. I'm like, damn, how the hell did they figure that out or that out?
Right.
It does take time, but but they're already checking like the passports at the beginning. When you go in, do that, so they are alleviating the time. I think with TSA coming back, this problem could go away, which is another mind-boggling reason as to why John Thune did what he did. Now, let's go ahead and check out another vid here. I want to check out. Ooh, where's it at? ICE Heroism. I wanted to show this. Where's it at? Here we go. So ICE is saving lives, and here is one example. I couldn't resist. I just had to throw in some cover art in here. So right now you're looking at the baby. The baby's struggling. You see him. The baby's choking. The ICE agent just grabbed her. And like a typical TV movie, they're hiding behind the pillar. We can't see what's happening. I cut about 30 some odd seconds out of this. I didn't want to wait. But eventually you see him come out there. The baby's safe. The baby's okay. And the guy goes back on his own merry day. So I thought that's great. You know, it's wonderful story there. You would think that would be plastered all over the news, right?
I'm sure it's not.
So this happened on March 25th, 2 days ago. He was assigned to assist at the JFK airport, the TSA checkpoint. It was a 1-year-old baby, and the security line became unresponsive and stopped breathing in the father's arms. The officers you saw took the child, performed the Heimlich maneuver, which is tough on a little baby because you got to be careful with the development, and restored the breathing after nearly 2 minutes. The infant regained consciousness, was healthy enough. Let's hope there's no brain issue with that because 2 minutes is a while. Even in the middle of the funding crisis, a nice agent reminded everyone what real service looks like, what caring looks like. Will this kind of life-saving heroism get buried by the mainstream media? I'm being rhetorical, but I got to ask the question here. Why not? This get buried? Well, even CNN go, we have a
I
wonderful
mean,
story here.
I did read about it. So it got to me, but I'm sure those types of things will get to me. Do you know what I mean? But I'll tell you this, I didn't
Where did you read it? Where did you read it at? What site?
well, I read it on my phone. So I think I get things that are filtered that are more I see more of the things that I would probably be more apt to want. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
filtered that, but I did not see it on the news. So I'll put it that way. And I do watch the news every night. Did not see it on the mainstream news.
Okay, so gee, can this shift public opinion on ICE? Now, short term, maybe not, but this could go on. What do you think?
Well, ICE is 50-50, right? So you got the Democrats. This is not going to change their opinion at all. And then you got the Republicans who are not going to be swayed by negative things. I mean, what are we looking at? Maybe 4 ICE agents who killed 2 people that we're not happy with, but how many thousands of ICE agents are there? So yeah, this is a great story. I'm glad that the person jumped in, that the baby was saved and all that, but this is not going to move the needle in either direction.
I don't care
And
about
that's
either
it.
direction.
No, and that's right about the echo chamber, right? Like you get it on your phone because it's curated for you, but you're not
Right.
going to see it on CNN, MSNBC. You
Right.
might see it on Fox,
But no, what I'm saying, G, is I don't care about either side. Who are we trying to regain?
right? We're trying to
Independence?
get the independence.
Those are the ones. So put your consulting cap, and we'll go to you second on that. Chief, put your consulting cap. You are advising Armin Kurdian on his congressional run right now. You see this story. You're at your weekly staff meeting. G. Mangani, what do you got for us? What do you tell them about this and how to use it?
Yeah, I mean, what you say is, look, ICE is out there to save lives. That's the whole goal, is to protect American lives, and that's it. So whether it's preventing people from coming here, deporting criminals and other illegal aliens, or those saving babies. I mean, he just happened to have the skill. I'm pretty sure every ICE agent doesn't learn how to do, what is it, the Heimlich maneuver on infants, but that one happened to be there. Luck of the draw, glad it happened. But that's what I would tell a guy like Armin, that ICE is there to save people.
Your next meeting will be with me. Mr. Mangani, I need to see you. It was nice working with you. What would you tell Jim Desmond, running for the congressional 50th district, about this, how to use this incident?
I suppose I would just begin by sort of stating the obvious that ICE is getting a really bad rap. And now we need to talk about like this the other side of it. I mean, I think what's happening though is like it's gone pretty far. And for people that are independent, and I feel like I'm around them more than you, William, for some reason.
Oh, you
Um,
probably are. I
yeah,
don't doubt that.
I think that
But I'm a data guy. I break the numbers down.
okay, but I sort of trust what I'm seeing and hearing around me. I believe that that is a bigger representation than you might give it credit for. Um, yeah, I would tell Jim to bring it up. I mean, I would definitely say you need to look at this from multifaceted perspective. But every ice guy, some of them probably are thuggish. Some of them probably are not trained. As G said, this could have been, right person at the right time, and thank God for that. But I mean, I'm not sure it would be the thing that I would pull out to use in a congressional race. Probably
Gotcha.
not.
So after I spoke to G, I say, Annette, I need to talk to you.
You know what? You
Fired.
would have fired me
All right.
such a long time ago. If
So
I was
here's the
in
deal.
office, I wouldn't use that.
So here's the deal. Annette, it's not that I don't believe you, it's everything you bring to us is anecdotal. Everything G brings to us is anecdotal. Everything I bring to the table is anecdotal. It's living in our own bubble, living in our own world. That's why I look at the data and I crunch the data and I look at those numbers and I break those numbers down because that gives you the bigger picture. The one thing you're missing from that is you're only getting a nationalist view. So when I'm talking to Armin and Jim, because I'm that good, I got them both. And I go, listen, guys, we are a southern border city. ICE is a big issue in San Diego. We are going to put X percentage of our campaign funds into figuring out how to commercialize this incident, how to use these ICE agents in this capacity, how to bring some of the ones that have trained in this, how to humanize them, because these are the people in a San Diego town that they're going to be talking against. We want the independence. We know you're not going to win the illegal vote. We're not gonna, definitely Trump can stop that this go round, but we want to get those independents and we want to humanize ICE, and this humanizes them. You attack the problem head on. When you skirt around the problem, you get Mike Levin 5-6 terms. When you skirt around the problem, you get a potential loss in a new district that gives the Democrats a shot here, and you humanize them. You make them what they are, law enforcement that is there to keep you safe. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Then I bring the rape of this woman, or who got killed rather, the one who got killed in Chicago. I bring that story in. I bring an ICE agent that has seen that. I get the Lake and Riley. I build a whole campaign around that, with the spear being the ICE agent servicing America, servicing a constituent. Because that's what, wow, look, they just saved somebody. And then you bring the doomsday scenario. That could be your daughter getting killed. That's a beautiful daughter. Yeah, where's she going? UC San Diego. Did you know the crime rate is there? With illegal, you scare them to hell to vote for you. That's what I would do. And after they win, they go, Del Pilar, we're going to give you a raise. All right, let's close this out. The Senate's partial funding approach isolates border enforcement agencies, while the House insists on full DH funding, which I believe they should do, but at the end may bite us in the tail because we now own the shutdown. This is going to do nothing but extend the uncertainty, the full DHS funding that the House wants, as the shutdown threatens to become one of the longest in U.S. history. Meanwhile, airport security risks and the dedication of these frontline officers are on full display, with direct consequences for travelers, commerce, and national security hanging in the balance. They can create a perception of who and what they are and sway independents who see that firsthand. It's not just Democrats and Republicans who travel. So essential workers keep showing up. Now it's time for Washington to do the same. But we got to wait for John Thune and company to get back from their vacations. So let's down the river. All right, guys, this is for this episode of Fired Up Conservative Talk. Tonight we walked through the DHS funding stand. You know what? Y'all heard it all. If you like what you heard, don't just nod along in your car. Like, subscribe, and follow on YouTube and Rumble. Search for Grumblings Media and join the community. And we don't just complain about the narrative, we punch back. And we try to punch back with solutions. And as you can see, the last month, we've been getting a little feisty at times. And that's, I think, good. It's not bad. So share the show, drop a comment, and help us beat the algorithms that would love to bury our voice. Big thanks to the G-Man and Miss Annette Ross for bringing the heat and the honesty, Annette. I'm William Del Pilar, your conservative Latino. This is Fired Up Conservative Talk. Until next week, stay safe, stay informed, and don't just live life, live it fired up. Hey, everybody, this is William Del Pilar, founder of Grumblings Media, and I want to say thank you for watching our content. If you want to support our all-volunteer efforts at Grumblings Media, smash the subscribe button right here. 100% free, and please consume and share our great content. Click either one of these two boxes for more of our work.